up, guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. With the holidays almost behind us, we're finishing the year strong with some big hits. Let's get to the winners. Christmas brought us 2 days worth of NFL slates over the weekend, and our members took advantage of it. IPT 007 hit for $2,100. The Guru won $5,500. Oaktown Daily Crusher shipped on 2 separate showdown slates, winning over $40K. Elsewhere in NFL, we're in Best Ball Finals week. Congrats to all our members and contributors who advanced. We'll be covering the final results in next week's core report. In the NBA streets, our members' hot streak continued as well. Dr. Lucky 7 hit for $4,500. Shawnee Wins won $7K. Sweet Boy hit for $23K. And Bossolini 1 topped it off with a $50K shipper in Showdown. Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Winner's Circle channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. And while you're watching, hit that like button now. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Till next time, let's keep running pure.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Big slate on Tuesday. Usually we don't get these big slates. 10 games today? Not some injury news as always, but it's not the laundry list we usually get to. Looks like a pretty fun slate, joined by usual Mangone, DC, breaking it all down. DC, throw it to you first. I spoke to Mangone earlier this morning. Haven't seen in a little while. How was your holidays, your Christmas, any New Year's plans? What's going on, DC?
Yeah, it's been good. I've been back at the parents' house for a few days now, literally doing this show from Mom's basement. It's been a running joke for a number of years. You know, people, all the Twitter haters saying I'm, live in Mom's basement, this and that. And yesterday I did the Up to Lock show. That was actually the first show I've ever done from Mom's basement. I've done a few shows, from Mom and Dad's house, but never from the actual basement. But we got nieces and nephews everywhere, so I had to find the quietest place I could, and that was the basement. I'm back down here again. Listen, I'm 1 for 1 cashing on both sites in Mom's basement. So hoping to make it 2 for 2. And I'll also say this, I don't have kids myself. How do people, they just go through their whole life every day, every single day, they got to deal with kids? Like, man, these people wear me out. So I've been looking forward to this show all day, get away for a little while, have a good excuse to come down there, hide, lock the door, all that good stuff, drink some beers, you know how it goes. So, but yeah, happy to be here talking NBA and get a little break from the family.
Are they running around stealing your hat like Grayson was doing for 30 minutes? Big T skid at March Madness? Are they doing all that?
They're doing worse than that. Yeah, they Uncle Pete. They like to get to see him a couple times a year. They like to have their way. So it's been a fun time, but yeah, I don't know how you parents can do it for 18 years of this, 3 days, and I'm ready to go back in my own cave and talk to nobody for a couple weeks.
So that means no kids on the horizon, DC, for you?
No, we're hoping not. We're hoping not.
we're hoping not. Yeah. So DC's in Mom's basement. I'm in my old bedroom upstairs. Mom's upstairs, and Mangone's in Grandma's side office. So we got quite the trio right here. What's going on, Mangone?
Yeah, I mean, family time requires you to be sometimes traveling in some weird places. I'm in Grandma's side office. It's not really used as an office, but yeah, we're here breaking it all down. I was actually at the Airbnb that I'm the only idiot that went to Florida and froze to death here. It's been cold the whole time. Our heat at the Airbnb was broken. We had space heaters going. So this has not been the most glamorous trip to Florida. I'm excited to get back to Colorado, DC. I'll say that.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you,
I'm back on Thursday. I'm counting down the hours.
I'm back on Thursday too. What time do you get in?
I think around 3 or 4. But my girlfriend flew here on Southwest, who canceled canceled everything. All their flights. So she's stuck here for 2 days with my parents. I was like, no, I'm not moving my flight. I'm going back on time.
Yeah. I was just wondering. I was hoping to see DC powering through the airport, but the opposite way with a mask on and just trolling people. That would be amazing to see you just masked up or something as a joke. Because when you walked in without a mask, it was. I'll tell you, Title. I was in the airport and like everyone's masked up, right? Like everyone. And DC was just powering through, no mask.
I remember. That was when you guys were going to Big T, and then
I got through the whole thing without putting a mask on. There was still a mandate at the time. It was
that was when everyone was wearing one. I could not believe when I heard that.
It was incredible to watch. And then I was like, well, I got DC without one on, and if anyone questions, this man's gonna like fight someone, so I could take mine off. I felt like I was empowered, so it was great. But yeah, excited to break down this NBA slate. We got a ton of games, ton of news, and hey, I love watching basketball, so I'm excited to catch some hoops tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, the showdown NBA slate. Now today, 10 games. Usually Tuesdays, we get 3 games, 4 games. We got 10 games, though. We got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to say hi to a couple people in chat before we go game by game, like always. Nadesify in here. We got Kid, Buckneer, Mamba, Dr. Lucky, Drew Carpenter, Craig, Sir Williams, Derek, Pairby, Fade the Chalk, Colin, TB12, Make It Happen, Connor Charger. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us as always. Derek and Chad said it's messed up when you're in Florida and can't wait to get back to Colorado for the winter. Yeah, it's been cold everywhere. That's for sure. Except Arizona, of course, the one place I left, 63 and sunny when I left, and -10, -30 with wind chill or something it was here. So all excited to get back a little bit, but 10 games today. Let's dive right into it. First game of the night, Los Angeles Lakers, Orlando Magic, 236 total, big total. Orlando is favored by 3.5. Anthony Davis is going to be out for a month. Juan Toscano Anderson is out. Doesn't mean much there. As far as the Magic, Jalen Suggs is out. Chuma Okeke is out. Mango, and I'll start with you in this one. Without AD, LeBron's been playing good basketball, 10.6K. Think he makes sense to spend up. Paulo, 8.1K. Thomas Bryant, we've been playing a good amount at 5.9. What are you seeing in this first game?
Yeah, sorry, the Discord chat was distracting. We got the Lakers game, right? Lakers Magic.
Yep.
Cool. The Lakers Magic game is definitely one that we have elevated price tags on some of these Lakers. This is not the same situations. That it's one of those spots where we have guys that are elevated price tags, right? Dennis Schroeder is now 5.1, a little bit heavier price tag. Patrick Beverley is 4.1K, which isn't a hefty tag, but it's not something I'm dying to get to in this spot. I think LeBron James at 10.6, definitely a good spend up, but you have to compare, hey, do you want LeBron versus some of these other studs? It's going to be a big talking point for sure. Thomas Bryant is someone that's 5.9, and that feels like a hefty tag. But I do think he can play more than he did in that Dallas matchup a little bit. The one thing you have to watch for, if you were watching that game on Christmas, which I'm sure we all were watching it, Uncle Pete was over there just sick of dealing with the kids and watching Luka and the Lakers, I'm sure. Thomas Bryant didn't play like the fourth much, and that's because they're down. They're down, and they need guys launching the 3 ball. And there's definitely a chance they're down against the Magic. I mean, the Magic have been playing better basketball. LeBron is definitely going to be a good play for me, someone that I'm interested in. The Magic, I think some of these guys have elevated enough tags for me to kind of stay away from on a 10-game slate, as we'll break it all down. Yes, there's not a lot of injury news right now, but it is a 10-game slate. We could get news that pops up in like 35 minutes at that 5:30 injury report that kind of changes some stuff. And there's some really good late games. It does seem like a night where more people are going to backload a bit. So I'm not as interested in the Orlando side of the ball. I am more interested in the Lakers, and it's mainly LeBron James. And then kind of the other guys, like sprinkle of Patrick Beverley and Austin Reeves, as all the touts like to say in the industry, but I doubt I end up getting to those guys. I see myself looking at some other value plays later on. So it's really LeBron or bust mainly for me in this game.
Yeah, that makes sense. DC, I mean, the Magic haven't played since the 23rd. Cole Anthony had one of his best games he's had. Shot the ball extraordinarily well. 23 real ones, 10 boards, 9 assists, 51 DK points. You going back to little Cole Anthony, or what do you see in this game?
Yeah, Magic have been tough, right? They've had moving pieces all year long. We saw like the hot start to Banchero. He got hurt. Cole Anthony has missed time. The centers have kind of been in and out of the lineup. So they've been a little bit of a difficult team to get a handle on a 10-game slate where for a 10-game slate, there's not actually that much news, that much value out there, right? There's not like a couple teams that you're dying to stack, anything like that. So I'm hesitant to lock up too much salary or too many spots on my roster on the first game of the night. But with Anthony Davis out, this Lakers defense has pretty much collapsed. I mean, they've been giving up 120, 130 plus points to some pretty bad offenses over these last few games. So I do think Orlando at home, I mean, a chance to beat LeBron James and the Lakers is always something you're going to look forward to. So it's it's not a spreadsheet play, a play that's going to pop probably in the optimals, but like Paulo Banchero, right, in his rookie season, has LeBron James and the Lakers coming to town. You would think he would be up for this game. Could potentially be one of those guys you get, I don't know, 4 or 5% ownership or something like that puts up 50, 55, right? You're not like, you can't project it, but there's no reason he couldn't do it. This Lakers team not playing much defense, just a little bit of narrative street there. There's no reason he couldn't take over the game. So he's someone I'm looking at as a contrarian option. LeBron is fine. Reeves is fine, I think, but you're picking off 1 or 2 pieces at most, I think, from this game. Banchero, I think the guy that I'm most looking at, just kind of for the contrarian reasons, right? I just think, I don't know, you're a rookie in the NBA, you're the number 1 pick, you're going up against LeBron at home. You probably want to put up a big game, and he's certainly capable of it. We've seen it multiple times already this season, so I do like Banchero a little bit, but not going crazy here.
No, I like Paulo too. I think ownership's sub 10%.
Yeah.
And the usage is up there. He could fill
price
up.
Price is reasonable. He's got a ceiling. So yeah, why not?
Yeah. No, I like that call. Fade the Chalk said, what about Fultz? Any thoughts on him?
I didn't dig too much there. Because I pretty much knew I was playing maybe 1 or 2 pieces tops. Banchero is the guy I want to roll with. But yeah, Fultz seems like he's okay at 5,900.
Yeah,
I think he has the ceiling title at that price, but you do have to embrace the minutes floor, right? And him just not getting the run, that's something you have to think about. It's probably not the thing you're going to do on a 1 to 3 lineups or anything like that, but in your MME, I'm not going to completely X him out, but understand you can get the Fultz game where he plays 23 minutes and you just feel like a donkey and you're like, okay, this sucks, but the ceiling's definitely there at 5'9".
Yeah, you could get an easy snowflake in that lineup at 18, or he's showing 40+ point upside. So I think he's fine. It's not a slate where yesterday's slate, we were waiting on a good amount of news. The 2 7 p.m. Eastern games weren't very good where you felt fine fading them. We're not waiting on too much news, but this first game, 2 games at 7 p.m. Eastern, this game, there's not a must, or I think you're fine fading this one. And this next game, the 76ers, the Wizards, I think we'll get to it right now, but I don't see too much that we need to get to really in this one either. 225 total. Philly is favored by 5. Tyrese Maxey still out for Philly. That's it. Denny Avdia is questionable for Washington, which is one of the bigger pieces of news on this slate. Again, we aren't really waiting for much right now. All I really see on this game is the stars, if you want to go that right. Embiid, Harden, Porzingis on the other side. I think all are fine. None of them are musts. DC, what do you see in this one?
Not a ton here, to be honest. Mostly going to fade Washington, most likely. I guess if Avdia sits, you could look to some of those Washington wings, but I think they still have enough guys where they're not the most appealing spot on the slate by any means. So probably not going there. I do think the Philly stars are interesting. I still think Harden's underpriced, under 10K, 9,700 on DK. 41 and 43 minutes in the last 2 games. Those games didn't even go to overtime. They're just letting him play the entire time. 21, 13 assists. He's got the ball constantly. I don't know what you guys think about the matchup for Embiid. You saw on Christmas Day, Mitchell Robinson, a pretty tough matchup for anybody down low, and they kind of abandoned Embiid in the post and went to Harden, just kind of doing his thing. I don't know what you guys think about the matchup with Embiid and Porzingis, but Harden, his floor is so high, right? And he's shown the ceiling these last couple of games, and you're not paying the true superstar ceiling price tag. You're not paying the Embiid, Jokic, Doncic price tag, but Harden has put up 67 and 71 in the last 2 games. You can't find really players under 10K who can do that. So I think Harden's very much in play here.
Yeah, if you give me 40 minutes for James Harden, I'll take that any day of the week.
Your floor is 35 and your ceiling is the 70s. Put up these last couple of games, so why not, right?
With triple-double upside, absolutely. Yep. Go and talk about Harden and Embiid. Would you make a rule max 1? Anyone on Washington? What does Avdia News do for you? Break down this game.
Yeah, Denny News is tough because I don't think it makes anything jump out, because the problem is you have Kuzma, right? You have Beal and you have Porzingis there now. So nothing's really jumping out on the Washington side that I'm dying to get to. You could make a case a Kispert or a Barton. I don't know. On this slate, I feel on a 10 gamer, we're going to get news. Do you guys really think we're going to sit here?
That's what I think too. I think,
I
don't think we know the most significant news that's going to drop yet. That's what
I agree. That's my take. And I will say sometimes I say that and then I'm sitting there like an idiot and I'm like, oh, it's 7:30 Eastern. And I'm like, that ain't
Yeah,
coming.
but are you gonna really regret not having Kispert? You know what I mean? Probably not.
No.
Yeah, I'm not going to regret not having Corey Kispert and Will Barton in my lineups.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't need to play anyone from Washington. Philly, a good point to bring up. And I know every slate is different, and this one's a 10 gamer, but shooting guard position has kind of been not the easiest to roster players. Now, I know sometimes people, they only play one lineup and they go like, oh, well, you could play Trey Murphy there. That was an easy way to do it. Yeah, I get it. But like shooting guard has kind of been a rough position, I think, overall. And I think that James Harden is someone that you need to consider as a spend up, because when you gain all this value at center and you gain these forward and guard values, sometimes you just need a spend up shooting guard because you have so much value, because not a lot of guys have shooting guard eligibility compared to point guard and small forward and all these other spots. So when value hits, sometimes this spend up shooting guard just makes a ton of sense. And you know what makes a ton of sense? James Harden at only 9.7K. This dude has a massive ceiling. Luka is 12 but you know what? Harden has the ceiling of Luka at 9.7. So I think you got to consider James Harden as a pretty good option here as a spend up on this slate. But other than that, I'm really kind of staying away from this game. He might be someone I consider based on how the news hits, but I'm still kind of waiting to see what happens with some of these games. But that's the only guy, I guess, in my pool so far of the first two games. James Harden and LeBron James, I think, are the only guys really in my player pool right now.
I was gonna say rank Harden, Embiid, and LeBron. Obviously, you have Embiid last, so Harden or LeBron.
Yeah, it might be LeBron at 1, just because from my notice of roster construction right now, no one is like spending up for forwards right now, which seems a little crazy to me to just ignore it completely. Listen, like if no one's going that route, remember the Christmas slate. Christmas slate's a great example. No one wanted to pay for Jokic, like for good reason. There was all these value centers that you could take chances on. And a lot of those value centers were terrible besides Mitch Robinson, and he was only 4% owned. And the next best guy was Jokic. And of course, the construction around it matters, but I just think that the field right now is not playing LeBron. So flipping the build and making sure to go up for LeBron is not a bad idea. But those are the two stars that I'll have in my player pool, and then I'll kind of figure it out from there.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that awesome 2.75 I got from Hartenstein to start off my Christmas morning. I appreciate that. But
I was right there with you, Title. I had one team that had so my main team, I did the biggest mistake, Title. You ever play like a couple teams and you're like, oh man, I didn't join like the $200 on both teams or like the $500. Of course, my team with the most money has Hartenstein, and the other one is sitting with Harden, Brunson, and Randall. And I'm like, I feel like an absolute moron right now. Now, it didn't win all the money, but it definitely was a solid team at the end of the day.
The mistake I made that day was, I think one of my biggest strengths is like looking at the big chalk and then figuring out if that goes wrong, who would succeed. So I was able to get off all the Hartenstein when I saw he was going to be like the highest owned center, and I think one of the highest owned players on the entire slate.
He was.
But obviously, right, the shift from not playing Hartenstein, I played a lot of Julius Randle, but just play Mitchell, right? Because they're literally directly competing for minutes. And that was kind of the I did pretty good on Christmas Day, but could have been better if you had to have Mitch Rob, right? He was the key to the whole slate.
Do you know what else made it really sharp, DC? You look at the center position, everyone was playing these dusty centers. And like Robert Williams isn't dusty, but I mean the minutes. Everyone was playing fragile centers. And
Thomas Bryant,
minutes,
Hartenstein.
Yeah.
I played a lot of
minutes
empty.
are
I saw he's
not
going to be like
fragile.
4%. I was like, okay, I'm in on that.
Yeah, it was definitely a sharp move. And I regret not considering it more for sure.
Yeah, that was an interesting. I mean, shout out to Rubio. He was, man, the OT definitely hurt Rubio. He was sitting in second for 30K on the FanDuel one. FanDuel was so generous, man. They gave what $700,000 in prize pools. They say you lose, we'll refund your entries. I took advantage of that in 150. I lost a little money.
That was filled out pretty early, right?
I think like a day before or something. Yeah. I saw someone in Discord brought it up. I'm like, I wasn't good on 150. Yeah, I'll definitely throw 150 in now quick. I mean, it's a free roll. That was really cool that FanDuel did that, but it was a fun Christmas Day. Hartenstein was not fun though. That is for sure. That is, the first two games at 7 p.m. Eastern though. I think it's the studs. I mean, if you want to go Fultz, you want to go Cole Anthony, Paulo in the first game, I think that's all fine, but it looks like the first two games mainly for studs, really only waiting on the Denny news. at that. Then the next game's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. But first, want to say, well, first of all, I see people in chat, Spencer Smith and Butthole Jenkins talking about JSU and Big T in a boxing match. And Butthole has $1,000 on Big T. If either of you two want to talk about that quick, because that was an interesting comment. Any comments there?
That's an interesting matchup right there.
It's quite the height difference.
The height and size difference is massive, but so is the cardio difference.
Yeah.
And if you get him with big enough gloves and headgear, I don't know. Maybe JSU can kind of like Homer Simpson is, he's
a feisty one too. JSU's a feisty.
Work the body a little bit. I think that could be closer than people think. I don't know.
it'd be a good one, man. Go on. You want anything to say about that before we move on?
I think I'm on JSU because of the stamina angle. Listen, I think if you're just going punch for punch, and just standing there and just taking them, I think eventually Big T would win. If it's just
if they're trading in the pocket, I got Big T by a lot.
I feel like this matchup will never happen. But.
No, it's not. I don't know what they're talking about. They're on the Up to Lock show, so I think they're just saying they mess
I'm
around
the only one willing to box anyone in this industry, and nobody will apparently box me. So
I think I'd be willing to box. I think I would do it.
Oh, you might have your guy.
I don't feel like I'll win as well, but I think it'd be fun. I think training to be one of my friends growing up was he was boxing in high school and college. Dude, you get basically the value in getting in shape for that is actually insane. I'd be willing to box. I'm not saying I'd feel good about my chances to win, but you'd have to. I have heart at least, so you'd have to really take me out for sure. But
I feel like you'd come out swinging real hard.
He's got grit. Yeah. It would be like the Red Bull man going back in the day, and then it just all goes downhill.
Yeah, I would battle, but I'm not saying I would win. But I would enjoy the training aspect of it. I think the training would be, because again, you get an insane shape from it. Oh yeah. That's just a good enough value for me to ever consider.
My sign up sheet is open. The number one spot is
I just feel like if I was doing it, I'd want to really be into it, and I'd want to actually really want to beat up the other person on the other side. And I don't want to beat up DC, but I don't know. No one's stepping up to the plate. Maybe
you don't got to worry about that part of it.
Yeah, man, go. I mean, he's not worried about that. I want to see you put a little beating on DC. No, everyone's saying no to DC. Man, Gone might be the first one right on this show. DC said no in the industry. Man, Gone almost snap calls him right there.
I got other things I think to prepare for. I got Snyder on the slab. But maybe one day, DC. We don't live too far from each other too. We can get some sparring in too as well.
Yeah, that would be good. But you definitely will get in good shape doing that, though. That is punching that bag will do that. But that's the first two games on the slate. Over 500 watching, 150 likes. All we ask on the show, like button, big red subscribe button. We do appreciate it as always. 10 games on this slate, though. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, Houston Rockets, Boston Celtics, 229.5 total. Boston is favored by 15. Jayshawn Tatum and Eric Gordon are out for Houston. Going to the Boston side, Robert Williams is questionable. Peyton Pritchard is questionable. I mean, man, this Rockets team yesterday. So they played yesterday. This is a back-to-back for them. Played the Bulls. Sengun went off. Kevin Porter went off. Jalen Green had a good game. All the Rockets seem to get there. Now a lot tougher matchup against Boston. Team I do not like to pick on. Big spread. Boston favored by 15. Start with you in this one, DC. What do you see?
Probably not a ton here. The Robert Williams news, him being questionable. I was thinking today, one game theory thing in NBA, play these questionable plays, right? So people are looking at Robert Williams possibly being out, and they're like, who could I play if he is out? Maybe you give a bump to Tatum. Al Horford, I think, would be the obvious one. But I do think the questionable player themselves, especially when it's an illness or something like this, they're going to go massively unowned, right? Especially when they're not a great play or anything like that, even if they do go. So, I mean, Robert Williams at 4,400, I know he didn't play a ton of minutes in the last game due to blowout, foul trouble, but his minutes should be trending up. I think he could be hitting into the mid-20s at this point. So 4,400 against the Rockets, if he is able to go, I think he's a fun, probably sub 5% play. Obviously you can play Tatum, Jaylen Brown, I think are fine plays. Houston missing Eric Gordon here and Jason Tate also out. They are getting pretty thin. They are running a pretty tight rotation at this point. That's why you see some of those starters going off. One guy that I think you can look at that will be extremely low owned, Kenyon Martin or KJ Martin rather, I think is an interesting play here. Playing 25 to 30 minutes a night. He's 4,500 on DraftKings. Nobody will play him. I think he gets blowout run, right? If Boston runs away with this game, I think they just got to kind of leave him out there because they don't have much else. And I think with Eric Gordon out, I think he's, not guaranteed, but very likely to get 25 plus minutes. And there has been, I looked at this, a bunch of instances in these last few games where he has come in, halfway through the first quarter or halfway through the second or third quarter rather, and played the rest of the half, right? If he's going off, they'll leave him out there kind of as that fifth guy. So KJ Martin, a guy that you can play at low ownership. The Horford, Robert Williams situation is one to watch. And then of course, I don't think I would play multiple, but any of the Celtics stars I think are decent plays here. But if Brown and Tatum are both crushing, they're probably not going to see much time in the fourth quarter. So I'd pick one or the other there.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely max one. Man,
Yeah.
I love the chat right now. It's so funny just how strongly people feel on both sides. Like everyone knows that, or so they all think they're right very strongly. They'll wager 401k, this and that, but it's on both sides, which makes it so good. And
that's why it's so fun to bet on donkeys doing sporting events, because it's like
no one knows.
Yes, but when the event actually happens, it's like, oh shit, I was either way right or I was way wrong.
Yeah, there's no in between. There definitely is no in between. Yeah, I mean, no, this is probably never gonna happen. JSU, Big T, like best friend. There's no reason they'd get in a boxing match, but I don't even know why it came up. Someone in chat, probably because they mess around a lot on the Up to Lock show. Maybe I missed something on the Up to Lock show, but it was definitely a funny conversation. Chat's making me laugh. Man, going Houston went off yesterday. Boston, big favorites. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, not a game I'm dying to play. I think they're 15-point dogs, and like Houston's played some pretty good basketball this year, but like, can I really sit here and click on Sengun in this matchup at 5'8"? Sure, the ceiling's there, but I just don't think I can do it. Jalen Green, second night of a back-to-back. I mean, jump shooter, I just get a little worried. Kevin Porter Jr., he's another guy that has had some problems keeping his hands to himself lately. And like against this Boston team, this is definitely a team I think that can drive the hoop and get you in a little bit of trouble. So not dying to play any Houston guys. Nothing jumps out to me as good plays there. And the problem with the Boston Celtics is they're just kind of too crowded right now. Could you make a case for Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown at their price tag? Yeah, you could make a case, but I think there's better spend up. So this game is a fade for me. And there's a bunch of early fades where I'm just kind of chilling and backloading a bit today.
That makes sense. I feel like this next game you might have a little interest in, though. At least I do. Pretty close spread, high total. Atlanta Hawks, Indiana Pacers, 238 total. Atlanta is favored by 1.5. On the Atlanta side, DeAndre Hunter is questionable. Clint Capella is still out. And then you go to the other side for Indiana. Chris Duarte is questionable. With Capella out, it's a Kongwu. I assume it looks like he's going to get a good amount of ownership on both sites. Man, but what are you doing with him is a question, man. He's more expensive than John Collins. Collins 50 or 5.4K. Okongwu 5,500. Talk about those two. Okongwu is probably going to be 3x the ownership, if not more. As far as the Indy side, Tyrese coming off a poor, awful game yesterday. Price at 9K. Still think he gets some ownership. Miles Turner, good price tag at 6'3", just center eligible though. Got to have some interest in this game. Hey man, going.
Yeah, and we got some news piling in. So we're going to see if we get any big news that comes up in the next 15 minutes or so. So that'll be interesting. Nothing big on the Kelly Olynyk thing, but news is starting to come in. So that'll be interesting. Okongwu, he's going to be the first guy we touch on. He's definitely a good play against this Indiana matchup. One reason I like him is because they have Miles Turner, right? They're going to play bigger. So Okongwu definitely going to get run, but he is 5.5K. So the debate is, do you play Okongwu or do you play John Collins? I think both are in play. My lean is sort of going to John Collins right now. Again, you got to worry though sometimes with the foul troubles with John Collins, and they could just play him at the 5 and then put Okongwu at the 5 as the backup. They could do it. Not saying they will, but it's something to watch for because they've done it in some games here. But yeah, I think Okongwu and Collins both are in play. I think Trae Young is in play as a spend up. A lot of people are looking at other point guards. One of them people are looking at is on the opposite side, Tyrese Halliburton, who we'll get to shortly. But Trae Young is definitely going to be a contrarian spend up that I think you should consider here on this slate. If we keep this thing moving along and talk about the Indiana Pacers side, because this thing is definitely going to be a spot where people are considering plays. At the center position, Miles Turner at 6'3" has upside at his price. I do think he is an interesting play. I think both sides are going to agree to play a bit bigger, and Miles Turner will get the run. There is a chance that during the game, he can either get in foul trouble or Rick Kyle just goes a different route. It's the second night of a back-to-back, but they played the Pelicans, and if you're watching the game, they pulled their starters. The guys got not that full run where I think you're going to see these Pacers be fine with their rotations. You're not going to worry that much about the second night of a back-to-back because they didn't play as much in the second half. Andrew Nembhard is going to be a guy that probably starts at 4.4K. That's shooting guard and point guard eligible. Definitely going to be someone that I consider. Tyrese Halliburton is a spend up that I played yesterday at like 9%, and I thought I was sitting in a great spot. I got everyone with flames, and Halliburton absolutely burying my lineup, which was brutal. But I think I can go back to him, especially at that price tag. He was 9.5 yesterday. Now he is 9K. There's a ton of upside at that price. Matchup is against Atlanta, which is good. Like Tyrese Halliburton as a spend up today. Definitely a game that I'm not just going to cross off. I can't cross off these 7:30 games. I got to look at some Atlanta Hawks, and I got to look at some of these Pacers. I would rank them as Halliburton's probably my favorite to get to if I could, even though the price tag I get is higher. Second guy is probably Nembhard just because it's a value perspective. And then third guy is probably Miles Turner just because he's center eligible. And there's other center options that are kind of beating him out right now for me. And then when you look at that Atlanta side, if I had to rank these guys, I'd probably rank the big men as like the top ones. It's Okongwu and Collins, and it's close. My lean is probably Collins just because of the forward eligibility and the upside that he has at the price. And then probably Trae Young is next as like a contrarian option at the top that you got to consider today here in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, this game, man, so I need you to touch on Okongwu and John Collins, DC, but Tyrese, Trae Young, and DeJounte Murray. The DeJounte price tag really stands out. Someone just said it in chat too. Yeah, Drew Carpenter. I mean, it's rightfully so though, 8.3K. His usage hasn't been where it is. He's playing off ball more with Trae. Yeah, you can get there 46 last time out. Well, what are you doing with him? The price tag makes me want to play him for sure. Sometimes it's too good to be true though. Break down this game for us.
Yeah, I mean, buy low, sell high, right? I think Atlanta's got a couple players in this game where if you just trust that mantra, which in general we should. DeJounte Murray, I think makes a lot of sense. The lowest price point he's seen all season. He's healthy. He's good to go. Yes, he's had some slow games recently, but still a really good player and a really good matchup that is capable of taking over a game. So, yeah, I like DeJounte Murray. And then my favorite player actually on this entire slate is John Collins, who did have his minutes restriction lifted in that game against Detroit. But the Hawks blew him out, a blowout victory for the Hawks. And Collins played, 32 minutes in that game, I believe. And that was with him pulled with, 3 minutes into 29 minutes. But he was pulled 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. I think would have played in a closer game, given, the rotation pattern there. Probably the final 9 minutes would have put him at 36, 37 minutes. And that was with Capella playing. It was a sprained ankle, I believe, that Collins was recovering from. It's been a few games now. You got to assume he is 100% health. And, Okongwu is limited offensively with Capella out. They could go to Frank Kaminsky as the backup five, but I think it's just as likely that they use Collins there as the backup five. So Collins starts at the 4, gets the backup 5, maybe even finishes the game in a close game, right? They could easily bench Okongwu because of his offensive limitations, and Collins finishes as the 5, plays 35 to 40 minutes. 5,400 is the lowest price that I can remember on John Collins, and this is a great spot for him. Great matchup. Starting centers out. I mean, what more do you want? So yeah, Collins, I guess maybe should have saved the play of the day till later, but yeah, love John Collins. I think you can play DeJounte Murray. I'm taking the discounts on the Hawks. Indiana side, mostly Halliburton. You get a little bit of a discount on him too, coming off that rough outing on against the Pelicans on the 26th, but he's still the man for this team, and I do think he's likely to bounce back here, even in I don't love the matchup, right? DeJounte Murray kind of can be tough on opposing point guards, but certainly willing to play Halliburton. But yeah, it's the Hawks side that I'm most interested in here.
Yeah, Tyrese, there's so many pick and rolls, get switches, like they're gonna fight over. You can get a lot of but yeah, DeJounte is not someone I like picking on too much at individual matchups. Price tag's good though, and like Mangone said, they benched all their starters. They were getting blown out. They didn't get their final run. He only played 31 minutes. So they should be pushing normal upper 30s minutes. Last question, this one. DeAndre Hunter's questionable, DC. If he's out, I assume Jalen Johnson probably starts again. We've seen it multiple times this year. 3.2K. Is this the slate for him? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you can absolutely go there. I would definitely only do it if Hunter is out. And I'm definitely playing Collins myself. So I'm a little, Johnson is to some extent competing with Collins. I'm not sure I want both those guys. But yeah, you could look at him as a value option for sure.
Yep.
By the way, Title, I wouldn't be shocked if there was a starting lineup change with the Pacers, just because they've moved lineups around randomly a lot this year, especially recently. And if you watch last night's game, their switches were horrific. Like they could not, it just kept, the ball movement was getting destroyed by the Pelicans. And yeah, sure, Devontae Graham was shooting hot and stuff, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw one of these guys between Mathurin, Neesmith, Nembhard, Buddy, like one of these guys move in or out of the lineup. Even Jalen Smith. I mean, if they go big, right? Let's say the the Atlanta Hawks decide to play Okongwu and John Collins, and they go to double big. Why wouldn't they play Jalen Smith then, right? I mean, they didn't start him as much recently, and he's been hurt, but there wouldn't be shocking to see a starting lineup change here. And if Jalen Smith did start, he's currently not projected as a starter. The dude is 4K. He could easily be someone that slides into the starting lineup. And now we're considering him as one of the better values on the slate if he's a starter.
Yeah, good point there. One of these days, Rick Carlisle will start my boy O'Shea Brissett, and I can just jam him in. I always love playing O'Shea. Point per minute monster. He's very active. Man, when the Pacers were awful 2 years ago and he was getting all that run the last quarter of the year, dude printed for me every single day. So hope it's O'Shea Brissett that somehow slid into the starting lineup, but I don't expect that, unfortunately. That is the Hawks and the Pacers, though. One of the biggest totals on the slate. Close spread. I think there's a lot of ways you can go in that game. Let's see. 600 watching, 208 likes. We do appreciate it. Hit that like button. Hit that big red subscribe button. You already got DC's play of the day, but hey, 300 is what we need. DC will give you one. I was going to say, DC will give you an extra play of the day, too. You already got one for free. 300 is what we need. Mangone will give his sweet Travis play of the day as well. So like button, big red subscribe button. We appreciate it. Najee the Great said AJ Griffin would start, not Jalen Johnson. I mean, I don't know. I think Jalen Johnson, maybe AJ Griffin. Game's at 7:30. And if Hunter is in, none of them will start. If he's out, we should get that starting lineup. We don't really have to guess about it. Let's get to the next game on the slate. Los Angeles Clippers, Toronto Raptors. 218.5 total. Toronto is favored by 4. John Wall is out for the Clippers. As far as Toronto, Precious is doubtful. Not a game I have too much interest in. You can always play Siakam, Fred VanVleet. Mangone, I'll go back to you in this one. What do you see?
Yeah, a pretty interesting game. A battle of, as I was on the bet show today, I kind of mentioned it was spread. It feels like it's like the older brother versus the younger brother, right? You got two teams that are very, they have long wing players, right? I mean, both teams are kind of like that. And I think the one team that wins out here is the Clippers. They're just such a strong team overall. You get the Kawhi Leonard revenge game as well, if you like that, back in Toronto. I love the Raptors. They're fun to roster, but some of their price tags are up a bit. Pascal Siakam, I think, is a really interesting tournament play. The upside that he has is great. I think he's definitely in the conversation for the ceiling he has. Also, I think VanVleet has a ceiling at 7.6K. I do think this game will be competitive enough, but I do think that the Clippers will end up winning this game. They are underdogs too in this spot, which is kind of surprising, but Kawhi is going to be in. You got George, you got all those guys. And I think this Clippers team are strong plays. And Kawhi Leonard at 7.9. That dude has a ceiling at that price tag. I know Paul George is in and they are more crowded, but he does have a ceiling. He's not someone I'd X out of my player pool. I'm not saying I'm going to play him on my teams. I don't think it's going to end up getting there, but if I was playing 150 lineups or like MMEing the 20 max, I would have Kawhi Leonard in the pool. I wouldn't just X guys from this game because I know what the ceiling could be here in this spot. And who knows, maybe I run stuff later and Kawhi pops in there because it's like the buy, like DC said, what was it? Buy low, sell high. It's definitely that price tag is a low tag for Kawhi Leonard at 7.9 for sure. But yeah, some of these Raptors, like I said, VanVleet, Siakam stick out to me. Another price tag that seems lower than normal, and he's got shooting guard and small forward eligibility is OG Anunoby. I do think it's a little bit of a tough matchup, but they are going to need his defense. He'll be active out there a ton. Yes, I think he could draw some tougher matchups, but at the end of the day, he is going to have to be out there defensively to be able to help stop Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And sometimes what happens is when these guys that you might not expect to have ceiling games when they have to be in there matchup wise for a lot of the time. Like a Dorian Finney-Smith is an example. Sometimes you're going to need him out there on the best player for most of that game. But when he's out there, he could grab a ton of boards because he's covering like, I don't know. I'm trying to think like a great player in the league, but he's covering like Damian Lillard, right? He's out just covering him all game long. He just runs into stats because of that, steals, blocks, and stuff like that. So I think OG is probably my favorite in this game. Contrarian spend-ups that I would consider are Kawhi, then Pascal Siakam, then Fred VanVleet. That's probably the way that I would rank them here. But this is not a game you're just jamming guys in. It's not one of the marquee games, but there are some guys that could be overlooked difference makers that are basically under 10% that could win you a slate here.
I definitely like the OG call. I mean, I like looking at both. I play both FanDuel, DraftKings. Obviously, I like comparing the prices. 7.5K on FanDuel, 6.2K on DraftKings. Anyone that's going to be 6.2K and play about 40 minutes like OG does, I mean, you sign me up for that. You don't really got to twist my arm. Fills up the stat sheet as well. So I do like that call. DC, I mean, Paul George, what a night he had yesterday. Yeah. The game did go to overtime, but Kawhi did not play. Now that he is back and you get to any of these Clippers, talk about Toronto.
Yeah, I'm off the Clippers with Kawhi, Paul George, Reggie Jackson all in there. Paul George would be my choice at 8,600, but I don't think I'm going to get there. He's been limited, or has had limited production for the most part when Kawhi has played alongside him. My favorite play here by a decent margin is Fred VanVleet, who I think is a little bit too cheap, 7,600. Been good all season, kind of doing, the knock on him, right, is the ceiling. Like your 50 is kind of what you're looking at here, I think. But I do think with OG, Scotty Barnes, Siakam out there, I do think Kawhi and Paul George, their two best defenders, will have to stick on the wing and only go to guard Fred VanVleet, maybe in crunch time, probably not even then. So Fred VanVleet will get Reggie Jackson and company. And, maybe the offense runs through him even a little bit more tonight. 7,600 on DraftKings. Awesome price point. Probably going to get you 40, you know what I mean, at home in a close game here, going to play big minutes in a pretty good individual matchup. So I do like VanVleet a little bit. And then, I think Siakam, really weird matchup for him, right, against Zubac, who couldn't be more of a different type of player than Siakam himself. So maybe that VanVleet Siakam if you want to get off the board. But I'm fading the Clippers and don't feel like I need to get any Raptors, but if I did, VanVleet and Siakam would be the two I'd be looking most closely at.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's going to be interesting how this game starts, what both teams do. Zubac mainly, what the Clippers do. Zubac against Siakam. I mean, Siakam can't guard Zubac, and Zubac definitely cannot guard Siakam. So it'll be interesting to see how those two do. I mean, Siakam's not going to get run off the court. No chance about that. Zubac definitely could get run off the court. They could go small easily. Morris at the 5, Kawhi 4, Terrence Mann in there, Batum, Powell. There's a lot of different routes they can go.
Like whenever Toronto gets a defensive rebound, it's like Siakam's just going to be
he's too fast,
peeling down the court, and Zubac can't do anything about it. So it is interesting there.
Yeah, definitely an interesting matchup. I mean, I definitely like the OG call. You can always Siakam, VanVleet, all these guys. When you play 40 minutes, I always will have interest in Toronto. Yep. So that is Toronto and the Clippers. Next game on the slate, let's keep it rolling again. 10 games on the slate, halfway through. San Antonio Spurs, Oklahoma City Thunder, big total, 236.5. Oklahoma City is favored by 7.5. Not really any injury news we have to worry about. Jeremiah Robinson Earl is out for OKC. Nothing on the Spurs side. Sokan was hurtful yesterday. Devin Vassell just kept chucking. Keldon Johnson had a good game. Lou Dort's there. SGA at 10K, I think is a very good spend up. What do you see? I'll go back to you in this one, DC. I think there's a couple good plays in this one. What do you see?
Yeah, good plays in theory, but I'm hesitant with these two teams, especially the Spurs, who, their franchise has been like built off of these number one picks they've gotten, tanking, and now you've got like the biggest tank of all time. The Spurs, what are they, one game out, I think, of having the best odds of getting the number one lottery pick. And we've seen a couple games where the Spurs have been competitive and have just like benched their best players, which I think is only going to get more common as the season goes along. So when I'm breaking ties, which you are on a 10-game slate, right, you're going to get a lot of guys that are kind of projected close point per dollar wise. I'll lean away from the Spurs. So unless they have more guys out than looks like it's going to happen tonight, I don't think I'm going to play any Spurs despite the good matchup. I just don't trust it. I mean, we saw, the getting popped thing has been a thing for years in DFS. That's when they were good and competing for playoff spots. Now they are like, I wouldn't say they're like trying to lose games at the beginning of games right now, but that's just.
They definitely want the one seed. There's no, I mean, that's why they traded DeJounte, or the one pick, not one seed. That's why
they want to develop their players. But I think the number one priority for this season is to give themselves the best odds of getting that one seed. And this is an important game for that. So on a 10-game slate, I don't think I'm going to play any Spurs here unless we get multiple guys out. OKC, I never have a problem with SGA. I do prefer him when Giddey is out. Giddey's going to play tonight, so I don't think I'll end up going there. Poku is 4,300 coming off a really big game, 40 points against the Pelicans, but he's another guy. You just never know if the minutes are going to get pulled out from under you, but at 4.3K in a good matchup, I don't mind that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people are going to this game. Yeah, I'll let him. I'll probably go elsewhere.
Yeah, I definitely think this game gets some ownership. I mean,
yeah,
I think Giddey gets some. Poku's so interesting. I mean, he's another guy. He can get you 7 points. And I'm talking DK points, not even real points, or he can get you 40 like he just did. I mean, sometimes someone else starts ahead of him at halftime. Sometimes he only gets 18 minutes for some reason. Sometimes he gets 30. You get anytime he gets, like, his last 2 games, he's got over 30. 31 minutes last game, he got 40. 34 minutes back in early December, he got 49. If you guarantee me he gets the minutes, I absolutely love Poku,
sure.
But there's definitely concern that he doesn't get the minutes. Lower floor, high ceiling guy. SGA, I mean, man, people are going to see what he did last game on the 23rd. 73 DK points, 44 real ones, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. The usage is just always there. I love SGA. One of my favorite spend ups on the slate. Man, going. I think there's a lot of options. Are you concerned about these Spurs? Talk about OKC.
Yeah. So this game's popping and it's gross. I didn't expect it to pop that much, but we don't really have a lot of value. So that's kind of the reasoning why. Sokan and Pokuševski are popping up as really interesting values today. Same with Blue Dort. I think part of that is the forward position. I mean, if you just go on DraftKings, right, without using any like Saber Sim or any projections or anything like that, just scroll and look at all the players at small forward. Does anything pop out to you or power forward? Not exactly. There aren't things that pop out as like amazing plays. So, and also we want to spend up at some of these other spots, right? We're going to talk about Jokic. We talked about some other good spend options. Guys like Pokuševski and Sokan are going to pop up as interesting values. Also, because they're popping up as values, this is a 10-game slate. Do we really feel that comfortable with these value plays? Or are these guys better fades? These are not like Najee Marshall yesterday. Najee Marshall as a value is a way better value than Sokan and Poku today. So these are guys that really consider as fade candidates in tournaments for sure. I know Title won't. Title definitely is smashing those guys in on those optimal teams. So this is a spot where I'm going to consider, is this a spot to get different? Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not the correct spot to. But currently, I'm looking and seeing what other guys can I try to play instead. Maybe we get some news that'll pop up that'll help me to try and get off some of them. But I don't think these are guys I want to just slam onto all my teams. I want to look for some pivots. Maybe it's going up to John Collins instead. And sure, maybe Title has on his optimal team, the John Collins, right? It could be the guy that he has on there already. But I am looking for pivots here off of some of these guys because Poku can lose run. It's not like this guy's just locked in for 30 plus minutes almost every single night. He is 4.3K though, but he has ceiling games and he has down games as well. So those are things just to mention that these guys are not as strong as they were. Also, I like Sokan. I played him a little bit yesterday. I didn't expect myself to, but I kind of thought the team I found got me everything and I was fine with it. He still played 31 minutes, but to be fair, some of these other games that he popped off in, Keldon Johnson didn't play. Hodel wasn't there. This is a more crowded situation. They only play with one basketball. DC, if you're playing with Snyder, you're going to take more shots. But if we slide Big T in for Snyder, your usage is going down, buddy. I'm sorry. Same with mine. So that's just how it works. If I'm playing next to Titletown, I'm not the number one point guard. If I'm playing next to someone else that's worse than me, now I'm number 2, and I got to just give the ball a Title and let him shoot because I know his shots are better. So Sokan, I think, is not the guy anymore really distributing as much. There's other guys. Again, they play with one basketball. And when you have to look at the team and go, you're the 5th best player on the court, that's sometimes not as great for you. For instance, Emmanuel Quickly the other day, he slid into the starting lineup and I ended up playing him. He found his way there. but it's one of those situations where you go, okay, Emmanuel Quickly, I like the minutes he's getting, but how much are those minutes worth playing next to RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, all those guys? Like, it definitely hurts you a bit at times. So that is something I think that hurts SoCan a little bit. And right now, I am trying to find my way off of some of these forwards. I just think they are kind of worse place. And how can we leverage them? Like Jakob Poeltl, I think, could be a guy that he's getting some ownership right now, but not as much as maybe he should get. And maybe he's a good pivot off of Miles Turner that also leverages SoCan's ownership a little bit, because if Jakob Poeltl is absolutely crushing in a matchup where he could dominate against OKC, he could be a really intriguing play. So there's some stuff to like here, but I think there's also some stuff to fade. If you went into SaberSim and X this game out completely, I think that naturally would make you different right away with your construction. And I think it's worth looking at. Go into your optimizer. I know I'm going to do it when I get off the show. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to X out this game and see how much of a drop off is it just to fade this game completely, because it could be worth it. And it might not be a game that I feel like playing the guessing game with. I do like Lou Dort. I didn't talk about him. I think he's a pretty interesting play that I don't want to completely ignore, just because I think his minutes are a lot safer. And it's one of those matchups where the Spurs are a sloppy team. And where is OG Anunoby going to eat? He's going to eat against the Spurs. Where is Lou Dort going to eat? He's going to eat against the Spurs because of steals and blocks and all that sloppy play. So that's where I look to get these guys that are real stock upside players. I like to play them against the Spurs and against the Rockets, these up-tempo games that are going to get me that stock upside. So I think Lou Dort is probably my favorite play in this game.
Great breakdown. I don't even know where to start. I'll start with you saying like these guys, SoCan, Lou Dort, the guy Poku, they are definitely not the same plays as Najee Marshall was yesterday when Trey Murphy and all of them got ruled out. The value isn't very clear on this slate. If big news hits, yeah, it'll change the slate, but they're a lot thinner. These guys can get you 12 points in a snowflake. You wouldn't be surprised. Whereas yesterday with Najee Marshall, you were. Second, yeah, you started it off. Man, I didn't know how to take this. It was a tough scene for title. Everyone, what Big T usually says about Mangone, about the optimal lineup, he's going to be doing this, he's going to do that. Mangone then turns it on me. So, man, hey, respect, though, because you're now in the tournament streets. You're grinding that, but I didn't know how to take that. Then you circle back and you say, DC, you're the man until Big T steps on the court. Then your usage goes down to 4%. Then you went and you talked about yourself and you cheered me up a little bit and said, hey, if title's out there, I'll take a little backseat for the usage. So we went all around the sun on that breakdown. It was a very good one, though. That is for sure. Hope people
we didn't get to see you play as much in March, so I kind of forget about you sometimes. Like, you were hurt and everything and shooting, but I want to see title on the court in March. You better make sure you're healthy before the games.
I mean, I'm going to keep going to the gym every day. Hopefully I don't get hurt and rolling my ankle right before, but Big T and I do have the rematch. The year was off. We do have that rematch still booked for 10K. That's not going to change. So a lot of basketball will be played on the slab. I will say, though, Big T and I, it's not the bows are allowed like you and Snyder. We're not playing at WWE and MMA on the court. We'll play some real basketball. But yeah, it'll be fun in March for sure. I'm excited for that.
The title, as I've gotten better, I do think 3 dribble rule is more fun, but I don't know. I just think like it's better. It's a better game. I think like watching us just like grind on the court and like battle back and forth. Like, well, I think fun. From like a viewing perspective, it's way more fun. I'll say that.
Well, for you two, because you guys are throwing hammers back and forth. Snyder's putting his whole body in. You're throwing elbows. People are running into the pole.
When you get the unskilled offensive guys going 1-on-1, it's like one guy just like sticks his ass out and backs down to the basket, and you just start throwing bows down there. So it's some ugly basketball. Yeah, you and Big T would be much better.
Were you DC? Did you see Snyder and Mangone go at it on the hardwood?
Oh yeah. I did. I don't think I missed many games on the slab. I was out there cheering.
I forget what day. I think it was later when some people left and they didn't all see it. So I wasn't sure if you were still there or not. It was definitely a good one. Go ahead, Mangone.
No, I'm excited to play it. VIP was talking trash about me, so I said, VIP, you could step up to the plate. And he said he's had 4 ACL surgeries. I'm sorry, some dude who had 4 ACL surgeries.
Wow.
I'm beating you, VIP. I'm not worried.
I'm just if I had 4 ACL surgeries, I ain't stepping foot on the slab anymore.
I'd agree. I am off the slab if I have 4 ACL surgeries. Like, I have definitely been very blessed with good health and stuff, and hoping it continues. But if I had 4 ACL surgeries, you ain't seeing me on any slab. I know that.
better knock on whatever wood's around you after that comment right there. West Coast and Mangone take a breath during that. Dude, Mangone is he's got cardio for days. If he doesn't drink Red Bulls before, he can keep going. So Mangone is great over here. VIP in chat, what's going on? Chris earlier in chat though, he said, or he's asking for the plays. Who are we playing on DraftKings? We do have core plays up on the site every single day. You do have to be a member for that. We don't give you 5 core plays on this slate. If you get 300 likes, we'll give you a play of the day. But our core plays on the site, DraftKings, FanDuel, Cast Chart, Playbook, all of that stuff. You do have to be a member. Head over to Run Pure Sports. Check it out. If you do join, make sure you do get in the Discord. Like button, subscribe button. Almost 700 watching, 270 likes. I set the number really low at 300. Let's make a push though. See how many we can get. DC already gave a free one out. We'll have 3 more for you though. Couple more games left on this slate. It's a fun time. Always fun talking with you guys, especially we like having fun over here. Talk hardwood, Mangone pokes fun at me a little bit. Big T and JSU boxing. That's what you get over here at Run Pure Sports. Check up the Up to Lock show. Who knows what Big T and JSU, if they're listening to the show, they might have something to say about it. But let's keep moving on. Another 8 p.m. Eastern game. Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies, 225.5 total. Memphis is favored by 8. On the Phoenix side, bunch of injury news here. Booker out, Landry Shamet out, Cam Johnson still out, Cam Payne is still out. As far as the Memphis side, nothing really over there. With Devin Booker out, DC, I'll start with you in this. With Booker out, talk about Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, John, the other side. What are your thoughts in this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest piece of news here is the absence of Devin Booker injured on Christmas Day. And you saw, Chris Paul essentially get a full game without the backup point guard campaign, without his running mate in the backcourt, Devin Booker, and he put up another 50 points, I think, against Denver. I mean, what do you have? 16 assists in that game. They just don't really have anybody else. Yes, they have, Bridges on the wing, but it's the Chris Paul show when Campaign and Devin Booker are down. I expect that to continue. You can argue this is a tough matchup. I get it. Relatively modest total. The Grizzlies are favored by 8 here. Maybe the Suns get blown out, but if they don't, I think Chris Paul is putting up a big game at 8K. So I'll be on him. I don't mind Torrey Craig in that 5 to 5.5K range, depending on where you're looking, DraftKings or FanDuel. And DeAndre Ayton, man, I mean, they need him. They need him in this game. I know the matchup was tough against Steven Adams, but 38 minutes against Denver in that last one, put up 52 fantasy points there. The Suns are going to play their dudes a ton of minutes if this game stays close. They want this win. It's a battle for playoff seeding in the West. And I think both teams are going to, try to win this game. The Grizzlies sitting in 3rd right now. Suns are in 5th. Obviously a closely contested race. So, yeah, I love Chris Paul. He's my favorite play in this game by a decent margin. He'll be on my main lineups for sure. Considering Ayton, considering Torrey Craig, and on the other side, probably less so, but I do think there are plays you can go to. I do think even a game stack here is interesting. Jaren Jackson coming off a different disappointing outing last game, but against the Suns 2 games ago, he went off for 46 fantasy points. I think he's interesting at 6,800. Brandon Clark, 4,600. Again, splitting those minutes with Steven Adams, but you don't know which way they're going to go. Clark against the Suns, again, 2 games ago, 41 fantasy points. It's 4,600 tonight. He'll be lower owned. And of course, you can always play Ja in any matchup. So I think I like this game more than most people will. Chris Paul, definitely my favorite play of the bunch, though.
Did you see the video circulating on Twitter when Ayton missed a free throw and they looked at Booker and he was shaking his head looking at someone? Do you see that?
I didn't see it.
It doesn't seem like these guys like Ayton. It's kind of sad. Ayton didn't want to be there, that's for sure. But yeah, you'll have to look it up. He missed a free throw. They showed Devin Booker and he just looked over to the side.
I can't believe I missed something on Twitter. That's a first.
Yeah, that's that's when you know it's the holiday season. DC's at home, and Uncle Pete's got too much going on. If Twitter's taking a back seat. Yeah. Man, God, first of all, did you see that video and then break down this game?
No, I didn't see it. And Uncle Pete, this show's going to go long, but that's okay. You don't want to go back upstairs. So
no. Keep it going.
He's like,
We
let's
can talk about
make
tomorrow's slate if we want.
He's got all he needs. He got a beer next to him, talking basketball. Kids are upstairs. Yeah, let's talk tomorrow. DC might be on the Up to Lock show. Who knows?
Yeah, he's dropping. I'm not leaving. He's just going to be here all night. So it's going to be a marathon show with DC all night on the Rumshire Sports Twitter. Sorry, guys, I got to work all night. But guys that don't want to work, that's DeAndre Ayton. He does not want to be there. I'm not big on him anyways. This is like a tough matchup, right? I mean, the other day I remember seeing Ayton was popping up and I was like, I don't want to play him against Steven Adams in this defense because if Ayton can't score, who is going to score? And that's one reason I was nervous about playing Chris Paul. And of course, what did Chris Paul do? Chris Paul ended up dudding and I was very frustrated. Now, will he shoot more shots? If you could tell me Chris Paul's going to go out there and play 35 minutes and shoot the ball at least 15 times, yeah, but that's the problem. I do have some worries he does not shoot as much here. It just could be a tough spot. I like him. He's in the conversation for me. Not someone I'm Xing out, but I want to see how much of him I'm getting. And then from there, I want to see how he fits. He's not a priority to me, but he's in play, in the conversation. I do think the situation is a little different because yes, Landry Shamet is out. And yes, Landry Shamet matters because he's been chucking the ball up a ton. And I think that's really good for Damian Lee. He seems like the next guy to slide into that role. So I think Damian Lee is an interesting value to consider. He's got that shooting guard and small forward eligibility. So I don't mind him here. And then I guess you could consider Torrey Craig at 5-1. He's not a bad play, but not someone, again, I'm prioritizing. There's other forwards I think I'm going to try and look towards, but and in the Memphis side, they're just healthy now. That's one of the problems I have here. So not looking to play too much of Memphis. I think overall it's mainly look at Chris Paul, Damian Lee, and then from there, maybe some other sprinkles, but I'm not trying to get too loaded up on this game.
A couple of people in chat asking about Dwayne Washington. Now with Booker out, Shamet, he's min price 3K. DC shaking his head no, so you got that answer, man. Going, you want to touch on him a bit? That's DC. You want to say anything except no?
He's just not. I mean, I know he played a bunch of minutes in the last Memphis game. That was mostly in the fourth quarter due to the blowout. If he's
riskier than you realize. Even though he's 3K, he does have way more risk. There is definitely a chance he does not play as much as people think.
I think the most likely thing is he is only on the court during the minutes that Chris Paul's off the court, which in most likelihood will be about 10 to 12 minutes. In which case he's probably not getting there even at 3K. If you play Dwayne Washington, he should be, I think, your only play from this game. Maybe a Clark on the other side where you're playing the full blowout narrative.
Sounds good.
His minutes projection right now is between 15 and 17. Understand that is what his projection is. Sure, he is 3K. I think he only makes sense as a shooting guard punt if you think the position's absolutely awful and you want to play that blowout angle. And if the dude happens to go 3 for 3 from 3 to start the game, is he going to play himself into more minutes? Yes, he probably is, but I'm not banking on that. So I just think it's a little risky.
I'll throw out one more name, Josh Okogie, and I got to go to DC. The ex-Timberwolf, watch a good amount of Okogie.
That sucks, man.
I figured you were going to say that. I mean,
don't you agree?
No, I mean, yeah, I don't love roster. The value on this slate isn't great, though. They are thin. Damian Lee is definitely my favorite, too. But I wanted to throw it. There's Washington, there's Lee, there's Okogie. Just
Okogie, I don't think he's a terrible player tonight, but he is a really dusty NBA player. Very much on the fringes of people that should be on the NBA roster. And not the fringe starting point guard, the guys the point guards that are on the fringe, when they get a roll, they can go off, but you get the fringe wings and it's tough for them to get there.
Yeah, Mangone slides in. Mangone plays with Okogie. Mangone's number one option playing point guard, right, Mangone?
I like Okogie, but I definitely don't want him running the point. But he definitely grinds for rebounds. So he's
a grinder. He's a grinder.
He has to
way too many minutes in person.
You might be Josh Okogie, Mangone. You're a grinder.
I'm okay to do it. Listen, when I used to definitely not be able to shoot. I'm not saying I can shoot like Title, but I'm better than I used to be. You had to find a way to help the team. So I had to grab rebounds and pass and do all that stuff. I had to be able to.
Anyone watching the show, if you win a tournament with Josh Okogie, I'll personally ship you a Phoenix Suns Josh Okogie jersey on DC. There you go.
There we go. run 150 lineups, lock Josh Okogie, get that jersey from DC.
Yeah. If I see a Josh Okogie team, possibly, I'm going to have in the back of my mind, DC can get a jersey. That's a little bit of equity in there. I can't wait.
It has to be custom ordered. I don't think they make them, but we'll make it.
No, you'll probably have to custom order that puppy. But yeah, hey, if you ship a tournament with Okogie, you deserve to get a custom one. So there you go from DC, the generous offer. And then don't sell yourself short. You made huge strides on the slab, as you like to call it. So I can't wait to see in March the new and improved Mangone on the court. But that is the Memphis Grizzlies and the Phoenix Suns. 3 games left on this slate. Again, all we ask, like button, subscribe button, 700 watching, already 300 likes. So we'll get you the plays of the day. Let's see it. Let's get to 400 though. Let's make a big push. We appreciate it. Next game, New York Knicks, Dallas Mavericks, 218.5 total. Dallas is favored by 4.5. On the Knicks side, Obi Toppin out. Jalen Brunson questionable. Biggest news on this slate. Going over to the Dallas side, Dorian Finney-Smith is out. Maxi Kleber is out. Josh Green is out. DC, going to you. We don't love value on this slate. Does that mean we're probably not going to get to Luka? I mean, if you can fit Luka comfortably, I will definitely say play him. But do you think it's a slate for him? Talk about what the Brunson news does for you. Is it a Mitrov game again? Hartenstein? Break down this game for us.
Yeah, I mean, looking at my shell lineup right now, my highest price player is in the 8K range. So I don't think I will end up getting all the way up to Luka. You just have to have a massive game at that price point, especially on a slate like this one. So probably not going to be for me. I don't love Dallas in general on this slate. But yeah, I mean, you can look to, the Hardaways of the world if you want to. Of course, if you can fit Luka, I don't have a problem with it. Christian Wood has shown a really big, low floor for what his price point, but also a big ceiling. It's just kind of player Christian Wood is. So you could look at that as a contrarian option. I do think the thing you're really looking at here, though, is the Jalen Brunson news. Who has he missed a game this year? I'm not sure he has. I'm not sure we've seen. I can't remember one. Maybe he's missed one or two.
Maybe
He
one.
almost missed one. He almost missed the one, and he played through it with the walking boot. Remember, he had the walking boot, and so he's willing to go out there and just grind.
He was on Dallas last year, right? And the Knicks signed him away from the Mavericks. So
revenge.
I'm sure he wants to play. I'm sure he wants to play in this game. And I'll throw it back to Robert Williams. If he's able to go, I don't think it's a serious injury for Brunson. I actually kind of expect him to play. Nobody's going to have him, right? And everyone's going to lock in their guard spots probably earlier than this. No one's saving a spot for Jalen Brunson. Pretty good matchup back in Dallas, playing really well. I do think he's a fun contrarian option to put on your team, and you pivot away from it if it doesn't work out. So keep that in mind. But if he does sit, I think it's Julius Randle really that becomes the awesome play. We've seen with the Knicks, if they lose their guards, Thibodeau is willing to let Randle become kind of the point forward. And, this is a guy that's getting 3, 4, 5 assists most games anyway. You take Brunson off the court, I think they would run a lot of stuff through Julius Randle. I mean, who's going to be guarding him? They've got Wood at center. They've got Hardaway and Bullock and you know what I mean?
Probably Reggie Bullock is my guess.
I mean, good luck. The size difference on any of these guys is just massive. I think Randall could have a huge, huge game here. So he's the guy I'm looking at. And then listen, if Brunson plays, you can definitely leave Randall in there, right? He's totally fine play, even if Brunson's in there. But if Brunson is out, I think Randall becomes a fantastic play. And I think the play over the other New York Knicks guards. I do think Quickly is a good play at that point. But we don't know exactly Quentin Grimes. But we don't know. They could easily reintroduce Derrick Rose or McBride, right? For 15, 20 minutes, something like that. It's unclear what they're going to do. But I do think Randall would take on a much bigger role. I think he's a decent play anyway. And if Brunson is out, I think he could be one of the best plays on the slate. So that's something I'm looking to play and then potentially pivot off depending on the other news. And then on the Dallas side, I'm less keen to play these Dallas Mavericks myself.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't get it to anyone on Dallas. I love the Jalen Brunson shout though. I mean, man, I think the price tag's good. He's already been playing great ball. You add in the revenge if he does play. Man, and I agree with you. You broke it down perfect. If he's out, Randall quickly gets a bump. Quentin Grimes been playing uppers 30 minutes. You just have to have a plan. This game's at 8:30 p.m.
You have
Eastern.
those last three spots. You play one of Randall or Brunson, and then have a plan to pivot to one or the other, and move a couple pieces around.
Yeah, you have to have a plan because this game's at 8:30. The only game at 8:30. We have 2 games at 10, and then we broke down the 2 games at 8 and before that. I always plan that we'll get the news 30 minutes before tip off. Just plan for the worst. That's usually when they're supposed to get it out. Hopefully we get it before to break it all down, but have a plan as always with Jalen Brunson. But if he's in, I really do like Jalen Brunson. Should be very low owned too. Good breakdown there, man. Go and break it down for us. If then with Brunson news.
Yeah, I'll be pretty quick. So if Brunson's in, I think DC brought up really good points about it. If Brunson's out, Barrett's minutes are great. Quickly would obviously become an amazing play. It would be really good for Randall's usage. And another thing to call out, I see sites projecting only 9 players on the Knicks. Understand, these are some of the 9 players. One of them is injured Jalen Brunson. Another one is Jericho Sims. Another one is Isaiah Hartenstein. Another one is Mitchell Robinson. Do we see those 3 guys play on the court much? No. This is definitely a way better spot than people realize. Dorian Finney-Smith is not there, which means that defense is suffering a little bit more. Yes, Dallas plays at a slower pace, but I think you could see the Knicks kind of set this pace a little bit more and see Dallas kind of, run up and down with them. I kind of like the over on this game. I talked about it on the bet show. It was only 218.5. I think it's a pretty good spot. So I'm in on this game. Definitely gonna be one that I look to get exposure to DFS wise. On the Dallas side of the ball, you can obviously make a case for Luka on almost any slate. If you got the money, I would like it. Christian Wood at 7.7K. I think he's in play as an option. Maybe consider more at the power forward position. It is Kemba Walker revenge, but that doesn't mean I'm playing Kemba Walker. I'll say that. And I think you could make a case for, some of these other punt options, like a Tim Hardaway Jr. I know it's revenge for him. He's definitely willing to let the ball fly. And if it plays a little bit faster at 5'8", he has a ceiling for sure. So there's some interesting plays in this game, but no one I'm like prioritizing on the Dallas side. I think it's more these Knicks that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, that 3 for 3 on for that. I don't think Dallas is real. If you can get Luka, absolutely, you can always play Luka. Looks like a tough slate to do it though. 2 games left, and we're talking if then scenarios with Brunson. Have a plan. These next 2 games, 239.5 total, 239 total, should be pieces that you can go to. Charlotte Hornets, Golden State Warriors, 239.5 total. Golden State is favored by 4.5. On the Charlotte side, Nick Richards is doubtful. Cody Martin's not playing like he hasn't been. Dennis Smith Jr. is questionable. As far as Golden State, Curry's still out. Wiggins is still out. JaMychal Green is out. I'll go right back to you in this one, man. Going Draymond coming off a big game. Poole is having a good game till he got ejected. LaMelo, Rozier on the other side. You got some good plays in this game. What do you think?
Yeah, LaMelo Ball's price is kind of dumb, right? 9.6 for the upside this dude has. I absolutely love it. Think he's a really good play. This game is only a 4-point spread. The Warriors team is definitely not the same right now. And Charlotte, yes, they've had their struggles, but I think they can stay at least competitive in this game. And LaMelo Ball is going to be able to be the guy that keeps them in it if they do. So like LaMelo Ball as a play. Terry Rozier is not bad at 7-1. I think he's in the conversation as well as an option. You can make a case for Mason Plumlee. Listen, the Warriors have been bad against bigs all year, so I don't think it's the craziest idea to consider him. On the Golden State side, we got to talk about these options. It's not one of those slates I'm dying to get there on, but if you look at their team and their construction, right, this is who they have. They have Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Dante DiVincenzo, Draymond Green, and then they'll start Kevon Looney. This is their bench. Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, Moses Moody, Ty Jerome, and Anthony Lamb. These are not guys you're going to give like a million minutes to. Ty Jerome has played a little bit better, right? But some of these guys could easily get cut minutes. Like you could see Moody only play like 10 minutes, and you could see them get a tighter rotation. They got to start winning some basketball games soon. I don't know when it's going to be. I'm not saying I'm predicting it now, but some of these guys grade out as good plays. And I also think you could see some of these minutes that they are projected for go up. You could see Klay Thompson go from like a 32-minute projection. He'd go all the way up to 36 in this game. There are just minutes that can be won over by this team. Could Klay go to 28? Sure, that could happen too. But on a slate where we don't have a lot of amazing plays, I don't think it's a bad idea to not totally game stack this game up, but get some exposure to it. Maybe play like a Klay Thompson, a Draymond Green, and like a LaMelo Ball, and then mix in some value. So I think there's some good sides on each side. I like Jordan Poole, followed by probably probably Draymond Green next, and then probably Klay Thompson. That'd probably be the way that I rank those guys. And then on the Charlotte side, it's like I said, it's LaMelo Ball is probably my favorite, followed by Rozier, and then probably followed by Mason Plumlee. And if for some reason you are like playing like a night slate, dude, if James Wiseman happens to get run, he's a guy that is literally on the verge of losing his job. And he gets the stone matchup against the Charlotte Hornets. So, and if it's a blowout, James Wiseman could destroy in the fourth quarter for 8 minutes. So if you're playing that night slate, James Wiseman is a very interesting punt option that I would not ignore.
Great breakdown. DC, what are your thoughts? Charlotte and the Warriors.
Yeah, LaMelo Ball came back on the 14th after missing a month. Charlotte, since then, points given up, 141, 125, 119, 119, 126, 130, 124 against not exactly offensive juggernauts. They've been playing very, very little defense. I don't think that changes. I think this game gets up and down the court. And I think that Nick Richards being out, I think changes things for Golden State more than people are realizing. So in this last game, Mason Plumlee obviously starts at center. It was Richards coming in as a backup 5. They went a lot to PJ Washington as a backup 5. If they do it in this game, which I think they will, what the Warriors are going to do is play Draymond Green at center, which is his best position. I think Draymond Green is an awesome play here. 35 minutes, put up 45 fantasy points last game while scoring 3 real life points. Everyone's different. I'm the guy that likes the guys that put up rebounds and assists and blocks and steals over the guys that put up real points. Some people, want the 30, 35 point score and you get the peripherals where you will. I think Draymond Green, I think they're going to run the offense through him. A perfect spot for him, especially if he can play the 5. I think you can play the 5 even against Mason Plumlee, who's really not that much of an offensive threat anyway. So, yeah, Draymond Green, absolutely love him here. I do like Poole a little bit, Klay Thompson. I just think Golden State, they've struggled this year, but they're still absolutely trying to win games. They've been really good at home. Perfect matchup. They can go smaller, which is perfect for the Poole, Thompson, DiVincenzo, Draymond Green type lineups. I think those are the 4 guys that are going to play the most minutes. I think Draymond could potentially cut into Kevon Looney's minutes here. So I'm in on Golden State here, and I don't have a problem running it back with LaMelo. Probably would be my choice. With Oubre, Rozier, and potentially Dennis Smith healthy, could get a little bit crowded there. But LaMelo on the other side against Poole and Thompson and I don't know, Moody and whoever else, right? It's just rough for Golden State in the backcourt defensively. So this game could get up and down. What does it have? A 240 total?
Yep.
Yeah. I love this game. I love this game as a game stack. Could see it going absolutely crazy. So I'll be in on this one for sure.
Yep, I like it. And if you like Brunson too, more options later. You can backload your lineup. I definitely like that.
You're not going to run out of options from Charlotte and Golden State. So
yeah, and this next game, Denver and Sacramento, last game on the slate. Again, we appreciate if you hit that like button, 700 watch, and let's make a push to 400. Get you the plays of the day. Then we're going to go right to the live show, premium behind the paywall, Big T JSU, Holden taking you up to lock. I did ask Coop, ho, 25 is still going on. Get you 25% off your first month. Don't think it'll be around very long since the ho season is about over. If you do want to join though, Run Peer Sports, make sure you get in the Discord. Check the Up to Lock show tonight. You will not regret it. Last game on the slate though, Denver Nuggets, Sacramento Kings, 239 total. Denver is favored by 4. Aaron Gordon is questionable for Denver. As far as Sacramento, Sabonis is doubtful. Go back to UDC. Sabonis doubtful. De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Harrison Barnes, Jokic, Jamal Murray on the other side. I think it's another good game to target.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sabonis news is one to watch. He has like a significant injury, right? What is it? A thumb fracture?
Yeah. I see doubtful. Is it doubtful or is it questionable?
He's got a real injury and he didn't participate in shoot around. I've seen questionable, but yeah, I kind of expect him to sit.
I'm leaning to sit. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about the Kings is Sabonis is another one of the guys that really hasn't missed. I don't know if he's missed any time, not much if he has. So we don't have like a huge sample size of how Sacramento's going to play without him out there, but they don't have any player close to replacing what he does for them offensively, right? They run a lot of offense through him. He gets a ton of assists, gets a ton of touches, especially for a forward center type. They're going to replace him with what? I mean, Metu, like Keita,
Alex Len.
Exactly. But players that have nowhere near the capability of replacing what Sabonis does on the court. So what is Sacramento going to do if he's out? I think they're going to run a ton more through De'Aaron Fox, right? That's kind of the simple solution, but it is the one that I think they'll take. The numbers show that. And Fox's salary, DraftKings down to 8,400, which is, I think a perfectly fine play, even if Sabonis plays, but an awesome play if Sabonis ends up sitting, which we both kind of lean that he will. So I am absolutely in on De'Aaron Fox. He is definitely my favorite play in this game overall. Obviously, of course, if Sabonis sits, but I wouldn't be concerned about being stuck with Fox or anything. He'll probably put up 45 for you, even if Sabonis is in there. So I like him. Jamal Murray, I haven't seen these Nuggets last two games. Huge performances. So I don't know if you guys can shed light on those.
He's
two.
playing. He's commanding the offense. He's playing well. Pick and rolls for him. Usage is. He looks like the old Jamal.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a 2-game thing, but I mean, 7,100 for a guy that's put up 58 and 48. I really can't argue against that, especially if you're, playing some other pieces from this game. So both point guards, I think, are strong plays. I do think, a guy like Malik Monk becomes a better play if Sabonis sits. Definitely places you can go to here.
Absolutely. Man, go and break it down. Last game of the slate.
Yeah, last game of the slate, but a good one. Definitely a spot that we want to target. I know there's talks of Alex Len starting. I'm not backloading my lineups and blowing everything up for Alex Len.
Don't play Alex Len, people.
I agree. I'm not. I'm assuming he'll probably get into foul problems. So yeah, I'm not too worried about him. And also,
Alex Len doesn't work.
Let's also say Alex Len starts. Let's say this was a 7:00 game and Alex Len starts. What are the ways this could go wrong? There's many ways it could go wrong. Let's say they're losing, which I think they are going to be trailing against the Denver Nuggets. Late in the game, they're going to go small ball with Harrison Barnes, I think, and just let it fly and spread the court out and hope for the best. You also have the route of Rashawn Holmes, Neemias Queta, Metu,
Trey Lyles, Metu.
Yeah, they can all find ways to cut in. So I'm good. You can figure that out.
Let's also say he gets 2 quick fouls in 1 minute against Jokic.
Yeah. I mean, and Sabonis, here's another thing. Sabonis could randomly start. Like, he did miss shoot around. I do not think he plays, but he could start. It's definitely in the cards. But if you are considering guys, I think De'Aaron Fox is one of the better spend ups. Definitely going to be an interesting contrarian guy that you can go to. And I'm surprised he's not popping as much as he should be. I think Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes are interesting last fillers in, but I'm not guys I'm prioritizing. Same with Malik Monk. I think he's the better play because of his price at 4.9K. But the Denver side, DC, I'm upset you missed that Denver game because Aaron Gordon dunked on everyone's head. It was actually, I mean, you saw the dunk, I'm sure. You didn't miss that on twitter.com.
No, I couldn't have missed that.
That dunk was amazing. It was awesome live. It was absolutely incredible. Aaron Gordon is questionable, and he could sit. And if he does, that's going to open up some options here. But I like Jamal Murray. I think Jokic is one of the better spends on this slate in like a dream matchup. So there's good plays to play in this game. So I'm definitely considering Jokic as one of the better spends. Jamal Murray, interesting mid-tier option. De'Aaron Fox, interesting contrarian spend up. And I don't mind those Kings guys that I talked about, like Monk, Huerter, and Harrison Barnes, as more last guys in that are fillers, right? You fall on Harrison Barnes, you're not super comfortable with it, but this is not the greatest slate. And there's definitely some ways that he could get there. And not just him, it's Malik Monk, it's Kevin Huerter. So I'll consider them as last piece in plays.
Absolutely. That is all 10 games on this slate. Had a little too much fun. Time got away a little bit. They mess around on the Up to Lock show, so they'll just be more serious. DeAndre Hunter was ruled out. They'll cover that on the Up to Lock show. You guys did get the like, so it's time for the plays of the day. I will start with myself first with the SO play of the day. It's not going to be 1%, 5% or anything, but I don't think he's going to be as high as he should. Jamal Murray, we just talked about him, 7.1K. Way too cheap for his role right now. All the upside in the world. I think Jokic is going to get a good amount of ownership. You can get a pivot that way. If Jokic doesn't get there, probably means someone like Jamal Murray is going to have a good day. So love Jamal, late night hammer, the SO play of the day. Sweet Travis play of the day. Who do you got?
Go to DC because I know he knows his. We know what he's
Mom's
gonna say.
basement play of the day is John Collins and
Yeah, I already gave up John Collins. We're going to stick at the power forward position, though. Draymond Green in the Warriors game. I think the Charlotte being down a big is going to lead to small ball lineups from the Warriors. Green coming off one of his best games of the year, and I think we'll get his, I don't know if it's his first, but he'll get a triple-double tonight for the Warriors. Draymond Green, Mom's basement play of the day, actually from his mom's basement, so you might want to follow this one.
oh yeah, you got a little narrative there. Someone in chat called it as well that it was going to be Draymond Green. Mangone, sweet Travis play of the day. Cap it off.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on two studs. The guys that made the cut, there were two of them. It was Julius Randle, which I like him, but I wasn't going to go with that. I don't know if I want to for sure go with it. You know what I'm going to go with? Let's do a run back to DC's. Let's go with LaMelo Ball up top. Yeah. Run it back with Draymond Green. We're sitting on late night hammers. We're in the Run Pure Discord with all the PMR, and we're chasing everyone down. I'm down to chase. I'm going to chase with LaMelo Ball, and I like the Draymond call, DC. So LaMelo Ball is my play of the day.
Love it. LaMelo, Draymond Green, John Collins, and Jamal Murray, the 4 plays of the day. It was a very fun show. Appreciate all you hanging out with us. Hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button on the way out. Ho, 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 25 is still going on. Gets you 25% off your first month. Head to Run Pure Sports. No better time to join right now. Catch JSU, Big T, and Holding on the Up to Lock show. Core plays, playbook, all of that will be up. As always, we got to get out of here for the boys, though. We'll see you in the live show chat for Mangone, DC, Simon Behind the Sticks. I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.